In a quiet part of the woods, a man and his loyal dog set out to build a cozy, fairy-tale-like wooden house. The man carried his tools with him, a sharp axe for chopping, a level to make sure everything was straight, and a sturdy hand saw for cutting wood. First, he found the perfect spot for the house. He marked out the 4 corners of the foundation with wooden stakes. Using a shovel, he dug holes at each corner. These holes were for the foundation, which would support the entire house. He then placed thick, strong logs into the holes. These foundation logs would lift the house off the ground and keep the floor from getting damp. Next, the man started building the floor frame. He carefully measured and cut thick wooden beams. He laid these beams on top of the foundation logs and connected them together with nails using a hammer. He then placed more beams in between, creating strong sections for the floor. With the frame ready, he covered it with flat wooden planks to create the floor of the house. He used his handsaw to trim any planks that were sticking out too far, making sure the edges were neat and tidy. To help him work on the higher parts of the house, he built a small, sturdy stepladder. With the floor complete, it was time to build the walls. He cut more wooden beams and started to build the frame for the walls on top of the floor. He connected the beams at the corners using a technique called notching, where he would cut parts of the wood so they would fit together perfectly, like puzzle pieces. He also added extra wooden supports in a triangular shape to make the wall strong and stable. He then framed out a space for a closet. At this point, the walls were just a skeleton of beams, not yet filled in. After the wall frames were up, he began to work on the roof. He wanted a triangular-shaped roof to give the house a classic fairy tale look. He took 2 long beams and leaned them against each other in the middle of the house, forming a triangle. then added more beams, called rafters, to create the frame for the roof. He made sure the roof was a little wider than the house, so it would protect the walls from rain. To make it easier to work on the roof, he built a taller, more stable ladder. He also built a small triangular frame for the closet roof. Before putting all the wooden pieces for the roof together, he painted them black. Once the roof frame was ready, he started to fill in the walls. He used wooden planks, overlapping them so that each plank covered a small part of the one below it. This technique helps to keep the rain out. He carefully nailed each plank to the wall frame until all the walls were covered. For a special touch, he built a small circular window frame high up on the front of the house, right above where the main door would be. This round window added to the house's charm. With the walls and the basic roof frame in place, the man moved on to completing the roof. He covered the triangular ends of the roof frame with the same overlapping wooden planks he used for the walls. He then carefully filled in the entire roof with planks, making sure everything was secure. did the same for the small closet, framing and covering its roof and walls, and neatly trimming any planks that stuck out. To make his work easier, he built a simple workbench on the ground outside the house. This gave him a sturdy surface to measure and cut wood. To give the roof a clean, finished look, he added smooth wooden beams along the edges and corners. For extra protection against rain, he installed a black waterproof sheet along the peak and edges of the roof. Next, he added a decorative touch to the roof. He cut many thin, small pieces of wood from planks and arranged them in a pattern on top of the main roof planks. This gave the roof a textured fairytale look. He covered the entire roof with these small wooden pieces, creating a beautiful and unique design. He then turned his attention to the closet window and the main door. He framed the outside of the circular window, painted the frame black, and then installed it. He did the same for the corners of the house, adding a wooden frame to cover the edges where the walls met, creating a clean and finished look. After that, he built a small porch in front of the main door. He laid down a wooden floor for the porch and built a small set of stairs leading up to it. Then, he framed the main doorway and built a beautiful wooden door. For the handle, he carved a unique and charming shape out of wood, which added to the house's special character. He also added a small half-moon-shaped roof above the front door to provide some shelter. Inside the house, he built a loft for sleeping. He attached strong wooden beams horizontally to the walls, and then laid planks across them to create a floor for the loft bed. He also built a small ladder to make it easy to climb up to the bed. Finally, he furnished the inside of the little house. He built a simple bench and some chairs. To complete the cozy look, he placed some potted plants around the outside of the house, making it look even more beautiful and welcoming. After all his hard work, the man and his dog had a perfect, charming wooden fairy tale house to call their own.